In this video, we'll be talking about everything we know about Light No Fire. Light No Fire is the latest ambitious project from Hello Games, the studio best known for No Man's Sky. Officially announced during the Game Awards in December of last year, this game has been in quiet development for over 5 years. While details are still few, it's clear that Hello Games is looking to push the boundaries of what's possible yet again, taking the lessons they learned from their previous titles and channeling them into something even more ambitious. Though unlike No Man's Sky, which revolves around countless procedurally generated planets, Light No Fire is focused on the creation of a single massive Earth-sized procedurally generated world. Currently, there's no official release date for Light No Fire. While some rumors suggest it could potentially launch as soon as next year, nothing has been confirmed yet. There has also been no news about where the game will be released other than PC, so there's pretty much no concrete information yet on whether it will come to consoles or remain a PC exclusive at launch. Although given Hello Games' track record, it's likely they'll reveal more information when they're closer to finishing the game, like how they handled No Man's Sky updates over the years. For now though, here's what we know. Light No Fire is set in a rich fantasy world where adventure, survival, exploration, and building come together. The game seems to center around an open-world journey on a massive Earth-sized planet that's chock full of lore and hidden mysteries. And when the developers say fantasy, they really mean it. Think rideable dragons, giant hummingbirds, and even rabbit-like villagers. It looks like a place where you're not stepping into the role of a classic hero, but more of an explorer, piecing together the world's secrets on your own terms and at your own pace. The focus of Light No Fire is on giving players the freedom to carve out their own path through its procedurally generated landscapes. The game is also said to feature deep lore that unravels naturally, with players discovering ancient ruins, abandoned settlements, and strange artifacts that give you more of a history of the world. Although there isn't much known about the story at this point, what we do know is that it really does feel like the devs want to capture the sense of charm, adventure, and imagination that's inspired by classic fantasy worlds. And alongside that constant fight for survival, you'll be able to build, craft, and explore a world thick with mystery. Light No Fire, as mentioned earlier, is mostly about exploring a single massive Earth-like fantasy planet that is procedurally generated to deliver an expansive and diverse environment. This is very different from No Man's Sky, which spreads its focus across countless alien worlds. Instead, Light No Fire directs all its attention into creating one incredibly detailed planet, with what looks like different kinds of biomes, climates, and terrains, and the world does look very huge. So much so, in fact, that the developers have said that exploring the planet on foot could take a lot of real-life months to do. The generated world is supposed to have everything from mountain ranges to dense forests, deserts, and even oceans. Yes, they also showed that you could go diving to explore underwater in the game, and each area was designed to present its own challenges and resources, just like in the real world. With such a huge world, you'd think exploring it on foot would be a pain, and you're right. Luckily, the trailers for the game showed us several things I assume we'll be able to use to explore, like ships, giant hummingbirds, and even dragons. Now, with the game supposedly planning to give players the freedom to explore the world on their own terms, the world's procedural generation will most likely have an important role, and the world will be full of surprising encounters. Since the setting is Earth-like, though, the plants, animals, and terrain will likely feel familiar, even if there are some unique twists. And since the devs are aiming for a sense of realism, survival mechanics might also play a big role in Light No Fire. Based on the trailers, you'll be able to gather resources to craft gear, shelters, and tools to handle whatever challenges the game throws your way. The crafting and building systems seem like they could be pretty detailed too, and it looks like you'll be able to set up everything from quick campsites to more permanent bases. Managing your resources would be very important, so I imagine you'd be also spending a lot of time scavenging for food, water, and other essentials, figuring out how to adapt to the different environments you encounter. And speaking of crafting, the one feature that I hope they will perfect in this game is the crafting system. This is a survival game, so you'll definitely be relying on crafting a lot. And they've shown us some of the items we could craft, like weapons and I assume armor as well, along with how we can modify our bases. I just hope that they give us some depth and complexity while keeping it simple enough so that it wouldn't feel like a huge chore. But seeing how they handled crafting in No Man's Sky, I think they should be able to pull it off. Building and customizing a base seems like an important part too. You'll probably be starting with something simple like a hut, but can eventually expand into a fully fortified home base with storage, maybe even crafting stations and defenses, and maybe you could even grow your own food as well. Weather and the day and night cycle could also have a real impact on what you're doing. Like if it gets dark out, it could make predators more active, making nighttime explorations a bit more challenging, on top of having little visibility since you'll probably only be able to illuminate the dark with a torch or a lamp. And if a storm hits, it could maybe flood lower areas or just make getting around tougher, so you need to adjust your plans on the fly. And who knows, they might be able to take it even further with survival stuff like managing your body temperature. Maybe if you're exploring a freezing mountain, you need to craft some warmer clothes to handle the cold, or if you jump into the ocean, you'd have to switch into dry clothes after to avoid getting sick with hypothermia. Obviously, none of this is confirmed, but adding things like that could really make survival feel more interesting. And moving on to combat, combat seems to be more hands-on than compared to No Man's Sky. Based on what we've seen, when you run into hostile creatures or threats, you can fight them off with swords and bows, and I think you'll be able to craft many more weapons as well. There's even the possibility that you might be able to use magic since they showed a character with a staff. Hey, it's a fantasy game after all. I mean, you can ride dragons, so being able to use magic is not the most outrageous idea, and after all, Enshrouded did it as well. As for NPCs, we don't really have much information available on them, but the trailer did show some rabbit people bowing down to the characters and what looks like reverence, so I guess there will be some objectives where you can help some people out, and maybe the game will have some sort of relation system with these people that could help improve your standing with them and help you buy and sell stuff from them at a better rate. I'm just guessing here, so take that with a grain of salt. And that brings us to multiplayer. We've seen how the trailer has multiple people working on building structures, and it has been confirmed that there will be co-op play. What we still don't know yet is how they will pull this off. Will this be like No Man's Sky, where it's pretty much a single-player game, but with multiplayer features that you can toggle on and off? They did say we'll be playing on a huge planet that could fit all its players, and Sean Murray, Hello Games director, also described the game as an open-world game with no boundaries, and that they'll let everyone play. So I'm guessing you can just create a party with friends and build bases and quests together, and you could probably run into random players if you look hard enough, though it probably won't have as dense a population as something like an MMO. The development of Light No Fire has been pretty mysterious so far, with Hello Games only sharing bits and pieces about it. Unlike the lead up to No Man's Sky, which went through some well-known challenges at launch, Light No Fire is being kept much more under wraps. It looks like Hello Games has learned a lot from their past experience, and they're being more careful this time, only revealing details when they're confident about the game's progress. This way, they're not making promises too early, which does help them avoid the same pitfalls and gives them more time to make Light No Fire the way they want. There's no release date yet, but it's clear Hello Games is in no rush. They're probably focused on finishing the game at their own pace instead of releasing something that is half-baked. The game is being built on their own engine, which has been improved since No Man's Sky, so they might be able to push things even further in terms of visuals, procedural generation, and how the environment reacts to what the players do. I just take the fact that they're staying quiet about a lot of the game's details to show that they're really focused on getting it right before making any big announcements. As for whether the game will come to consoles, they haven't officially said anything, but given Hello Games' history of supporting multiple platforms, it seems pretty likely. For the future updates, considering how much they kept No Man's Sky alive with tons of post-launch content, there's a good chance Light No Fire will get similar treatment. If it launches successfully, we can probably expect regular updates, new content, and improvements based on player feedback. Final thoughts. From what I've seen so far, Light No Fire has a lot of potential to be something amazing. The idea of a massive world to explore is honestly something I find really exciting, along with how there are fantasy elements mixed into the game. I mean, riding giant birds and dragons to gather resources and explore unknown lands is straight out of anyone's wish list. Let's just hope it doesn't hit the same launch issues that No Man's Sky had back in the day. If Hello Games can deliver a smooth release and keep these updates rolling post-launch, this could easily be a game many people will be sinking hours and hours into. However, information on the game is still pretty sparse at this point, as there's not even a confirmed release date, and the closest thing we get to one are rumors that it's set to come out in early 2025, a window that could be easily moved if needed. And while it's confirmed for PC, there's no word on which consoles it'll be on yet, though I'll be betting it'll release on current-gen systems like PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. For now, though, we'll have to stay tuned for more details. Perhaps we'll see something at the Game Awards. And that wraps up our video on Light No Fire. I hope you guys learned something about this title. Is this one that you've had on your radar? Have you never heard of this game before? What do you make of it so far? Do you think it'll go the way of No Man's Sky, or hopefully Hello Games can pull off a more smooth launch? Let me know in the comments below.